Katy just had one of the biggest home price drops in the entire country. Not Houston, not Texas, but the entire United States. So, a brand new smart asset study ranked Katy 15th nationally, with home values falling by nearly $12,000 in a single year. So is Katy in trouble? Or is this the buying window people have actually been waiting for? Now, I've lived in Houston for over 30 years, been in real estate for 20 years, and today I'm breaking down what's going on behind that price drop. All right, so out of the cities analyzed across the United States, Katy ranked number 15 for the biggest one-year drop in home values. Now, a new smart asset study used Zillow's Home Value Index for single-family homes, condos, and co-ops. And in that window, typical home values fell about 3.44%, going from roughly $347,801 down to $335,844. And that's close to a $12,000 decline in 1 year. Now, if you look at some of the other cities experiencing price declines across the country, you'll notice a pattern. A lot of these cities had a big pandemic era run-up, you could say, and these are markets where prices got ahead of what normal buyers could afford once mortgage rates climbed. And Katy landed in that same category. And it tells you that this is a broader Sunbelt and high-growth market reset, not just more of a local problem. And when we get into what buyers are getting at the negotiating table right now, you'll see how much room this correction has opened up. But Katy didn't drop in isolation. And what happened across the rest of Greater Houston kind of tells you something important about why. But before we keep going, if you're researching a move to Houston and want a straight read on what the market actually looks like in any specific neighborhood, you can book a call with us on Zoom or contact us directly below. My name is Travis Harris, by the way. We're a Houston relocation team helping buyers and families across the country make a smooth move here and really navigate this market, but which has been very interesting over the last couple of years. It's also important to say that Katy isn't the only Houston area market that has pulled back. The Greater Houston housing market has also experienced some price moderation. According to the Houston Association of Realtors, the average price of an existing single-family home in Greater Houston decreased by approximately 1.4% year over year in June, while the median price declined approximately 0.6%. And Katy's decline of roughly 3.44% was steeper than the broader regional decline. And that makes sense when you look at affordability. A buyer purchasing in a lower price part of Houston feels today's interest rates differently than someone purchasing in one of Katy's more expensive master plan communities. So the higher the price, the more sensitive buyers become to rates. And when those buyers step back, prices adjust more. Nationally, a number of major housing markets have experienced declining or relatively flat home values as affordability and higher inventory continue to affect demand. But Katy's 3.44% drop is why it made the headlines. But the rate piece is where this kind of gets tricky, because the same thing that creates leverage could take away from it pretty quickly. Those headlines, though, leave out really the most important context. Now, Katy home values are still significantly higher than they were before the pandemic. So even after this correction and all of the headlines, prices are nowhere near where they were 5 or 6 years ago. So a 3.44% pullback after years of appreciation is the market correcting, really, not collapsing. And sellers who bought years ago are still sitting on some substantial equity. The real difference between now and the pandemic frenzy is mortgage rates. During the boom, buyers were locking in rates below 3%, and right now, the average 30-year fixed mortgage rate is around 6.75% range. That's a different affordability picture, and it's the main force that's keeping buyers cautious and on the sidelines right now. But look what happens whenever mortgage rates begin to move lower. Buyer activity picks up. A decline in the rate can create tens of thousands of dollars in additional purchasing power, depending on the buyer's budget and financing. And people who had been waiting start to take another look. The moment rates move back up, things cool off again and get quiet. So the softness here is really about buyers waiting on rates. And the moment the rate environment shifts, many of these people are going to be coming back into the market. And another thing worth understanding is that a typical home value is a model estimate representing homes in a market. It doesn't mean every home in Katy lost exactly 3.44%. A well-maintained property in a highly desirable community or top-rated school zone may have performed differently than the headline suggests. So with that context, I want to get into what it means if you're planning to make a move. If you're sitting in another state right now, or even another country, the simple version is really this. Buyers have way more leverage here than what they've had over the last 2 years. Katy has traditionally been one of Houston's area's strongest and most desirable suburban housing markets. The fact that it is pulling back now means that you're getting into a market that's resisted significant corrections longer than many other areas. And that nearly $12,000 decline that we covered earlier is real money off a typical home value. But if you pair that with what's happening right now, buyers have more inventory to choose from, more sellers are reducing their prices, and more transactions involve seller concessions. Builders across the Katy and the greater Houston area are also putting up closing cost credits, rate buy downs, and additional incentives that can bring your interest rate below what you may be able to obtain on your own. The average price of a newly constructed home in the region has also shown signs of adjusting as builders compete to move standard inventory. So for someone relocating from out of state, that's a different conversation than what this market looked like 2 years ago. But if you're selling, you're almost certainly still gain a lot since you purchased. Now remember the appreciation above pre-pandemic pricing that we talked about earlier? That hasn't gone away. But the time of simply naming your price is mostly over. You have to price according to what has sold in your neighborhood, typically within the last 90 days, not at the last year's peak. So sellers who price correctly from day one can still get close to or near full asking price. And when you follow the marketing strategies that we have in place, the goal is to position our sellers correctly from day one and get the home in front of the right buyers. But sellers who overprice can spend months on the market and eventually close well below their original asking price. And on a home in the mid to $400,000 to $500,000, that can mean leaving tens of thousands of dollars on the table. And that timing piece ties all of this together. Mortgage rate forecasts expect the 30-year fixed rate to remain somewhere in the low to mid 6% range for most of 2026. As of July 9, 2026, Freddie Mac reported that the average 30-year fixed mortgage rate was approximately 6.49%. So the second rates dip meaningfully closer to or below 6%. I think a lot of sideline buyers are going to be jumping back in. And the leverage that buyers have right now may start to disappear. We've seen firsthand what happens when rates move lower. Buyers' calls pick up, more showing appointments get scheduled, and buyers who were previously waiting begin looking at homes again. When it happens again, the window that you're looking at right now kind of starts to close. So a price drop in a market like Katy isn't bad news for everyone. For the right buyer, it may be the window that you should have been waiting on. The headlines make this look like trouble, but the numbers really kind of show something different here. Buyers have leverage here for the first time in a long time. The question is whether you use it before lower rates bring more competition back in, or if you try to take advantage of it now. If you want to know what this looks like in a specific Katy neighborhood and what your buying power gets you here right now, go ahead and shoot me an email below. You can also shoot me a text at the telephone number listed on the screen, or use the link in the description to book a Zoom call directly with me. We'd be very happy to help you make a smooth move here. But if you're also looking a little bit deeper into the Katy area, I broke down the 6 completely different areas of Katy, because one of the biggest mistakes relocation buyers make is assuming that every part of Katy is the same. You can check out that video right here. And until next time, we hope to show you around town.